Just to be clear, are you saying that if the voters turn this down, that you do believe that the Thunder would end up leaving Oklahoma City at some point?
Well, it's basically self-evident.
Oklahoma City Mayor David Holt says there's two eras, before the Thunder and after the Thunder.
To deny that the Oklahoma City Thunder have been a world-changing event for Oklahoma City is to basically insist that we don't listen to our lying eyes.
Holt wants voters to give the green light in December to a new downtown arena. But some have been critical of the amount of green being offered by the team itself.
The $50 million contribution from the Thunder is absolutely laughable. It's embarrassing. The owner should be we'll put forth $50 million like that's a meaningful contribution.
J.C. Bradbury is a professor of economics at Kennesaw State University and one of the leading critics of publicly funded stadiums and arenas. He says recent NBA history is trending towards arenas being built with much more private money than what's on the table in OKC.
The public's going to pay for it, and the private part of it is going to keep all the money. That's not a partnership. That's exploitation.
So here's the list of new NBA arenas open since 2010. One team, the Golden State Warriors in San Francisco, they chose to pay 100% of the construction costs, but they're an outlier. Orlando's owners, they paid around 10% of the total price. In Brooklyn, private money paid about half. Sacramento's owners contributed around 41%. In Detroit, 62% was paid for with private money. And private money paid for about 52% of Milwaukee's new arena, which OKC city leaders toured last year. The offer from Thunder ownership? Just 5.5%.
And so people say they're taking advantage of that fear that Oklahoma City residents might have of losing the team in their level of investment. And so how do you respond to that? And is that true, do you think?
There's a lot of layers to it. I mean, first of all, Detroit has over 4 million people.
But Mayor Holt and others I've spoken to close to the team say this sort of comparison is not really fair, that every arena deal is different with different revenue streams, different factors, different incentives. Holt says better current comparisons are New Orleans and Memphis, which are closer to Oklahoma City's population, which opened arenas in 1999 and 2003 and were paid for entirely by taxpayers. Though a closer look does reveal the comparisons there are also not ideal, because New Orleans built their arena before the arrival of the Pelicans, and Memphis agreed to build their arena in order to secure the Grizzlies from Vancouver.
But really, the real comparison is us versus the cities that don't have a team. That's the free market, right? That's what we're competing against.
The Las Vegases.
Right. Any team that chooses to operate in Oklahoma City has to weigh what we have versus the opportunity cost of not being in Las Vegas or Seattle or the other 16 metros that are bigger than Oklahoma City.
But Holt is also pushing back against claims from Bradbury and other economists who say decades of studies have shown pro sports teams and arenas do not create economic growth.
And this is largely because most of the spending related to a stadium or a sports team is just reallocated local spending. So that is, most people who would spend their money at a baseball game, basketball game, football game would otherwise be spending it at movie theaters, restaurants, grocery stores around town. So we tend not to find large economic impacts.
Mayor Holt says he's seen the studies, but says most of them involve cities that already have other major professional sports teams. In OKC, he says the impact is greater because the Thunder is the only game in town.
I think when you want to look at the real change and you want to put it in economic terms, our GDP in our city since 2008 has increased 62%. And just so that's not in a vacuum, Tulsa's has increased 44% over that same time period. It's so night and day that, I mean, show me all the reports you want to show me, but I lived it. We've all lived it.
So it's interesting, if voters say yes to this in December, it will be the fourth arena built with taxpayer money here in Oklahoma City in the last century. Though, in fairness, this is the first time that we've had an NBA team already in town. And speaking of the Thunder, Jess, I did request a couple of times to speak with the Thunder ownership for this story, but they declined.
Okay, so December 12th is the day when voters have their say. Yeah, all right.